So welcome to the 10X podcast. This week's episode is a little bit different. I wanted to give you a little context and reason why we have come together to build the 10X project, or 10X.marketing. What follows is our why, the reason why we have come together to deliver you the 10X project. So sit back and enjoy. Picture this. You're sitting down with the CEO and the founder at a SaaS company. We're not getting the funding, says the CEO. We need to make deep cuts to survive in order to thrive later. The founder chimes in and then pops out the words every CMO dreads: we just can't afford marketing anymore. You and the entire marketing department are gone. When you've been around technology, marketing and sales long enough, for me, it's some 20 odd years spanning Asia Pacific to North America and Northern Europe, you learn that during a downturn, it's the marketing people and budget that gets cut first and deepest. So this conversation no longer surprises me. Your peers and colleagues all empathize that the business is short-sighted and is failing to see the key to pulling out of a nosedive. Yet they are just thankful they are safe and can still pay the mortgage. Moreover, their sense of security is rooted in remaining relevant to their business, speaking to the deep-seated fear that we all share, which is becoming irrelevant, surplus to requirements, and redundant. My 20 plus years of experience in this field has been punctuated by the ups and downs of raising venture capital as a startup during the dot-com boom in the Silicon Valley, being on the buying side of a mergers and acquisition team, digging deep into my own pocket to follow my dream across Australasia, as well as the thrill of closing multi-million-dollar contracts and even meeting the late Queen Elizabeth II as a result. I also know the terrifying descent of the roller coaster as business that you've been part of for the last 18 years gets sold. And when you run out of financial runway and overextend your services business as your three largest customers restructure their go-to-market and switch off their agency relationships. Not to mention when the GFC bites, the pandemic hits, and in the space of a week, revenues plummet to just 20% of the previous quarter. This business experience has been tempered with the reality of building different channels, making sales, and generating revenue. I've also learned how to build a brand, empower people, and develop consensus across diverse constituents. To make it rain is both an art and a science, but better stated, it's a craft. It takes patience, discipline, repetition, and a real willingness to listen so that you can adapt to context. This series of podcasts is for those that believe that there is a better way forward, and that is to stop selling their time and focus on being rewarded for their impact. If you're in the business of making it rain, you know that the lines between marketing, sales, and the ongoing delivery of your products and services have become blurred. The modern-day revenue generator has to have an excellent grasp of both marketing and sales in the context of a digitally savvy and socially connected marketplace. How we as customers derive value from products, services, platforms, and solutions has morphed. We're now living in the experience economy, where revenue growth is predicated on marketers' and sellers' ability to capture people's attention and in turn monetize that attention. Not just once transactionally, but multiple times relationally. The premise of software as a service relies heavily on this relational concept, since it's the potential recurring revenue stream that really underpins any business valuation. Businesses built purely on services revenues are especially fickle to the ups and downs of the market. This podcast, and soon to be a book, is specifically for those CMOs, chief revenue officers, business leaders, everyday marketers and sellers, freelancers, e-lancers, gig economy workers, and agencies that sell as one business to another business, or B2B for short. In particular, SaaS, technology, professional services, or digital business service firms, both large and small, that deliver business value digitally. It could be argued that every business is now a digital business, And so if you're in a more traditional field, such as manufacturing or heavy industry, the principles discussed are equally applicable if you're serious about stepping up and into the digital revenue generation world. If you relate to the idea of how to make it rain for your business in the digital world and you're part of an established business, then it's likely what keeps you up at night is how you develop those strategies, choose tactics, and deploy talent in your business that generates revenue. This is in the face of peers, stakeholders, and bosses that have a low appreciation of the impact that these strategies, tactics, and talent can have on your business fortunes. What I've found is that just about everyone who is not responsible for marketing and sales, for that matter, thinks they can do it better. I'll just repeat that. What I've found is that everyone who is not responsible for marketing and sales thinks they can do it better. What I've learned, especially with regard to marketing, is that it is more a faith than a discipline in most organizations. So how do you adapt to unrelenting change? What you may have noticed is how quickly markets and buying behaviors are morphing. The pandemic brought this into stark focus. Suddenly, the B2B mainstay of in-person contact, networking, and selling suddenly and dramatically stopped. In reality, this was an acceleration of a trend born out of digital disruption, also known as the Fourth Industrial Revolution. This is where the convergence of the rapid advances in technology, the interplay between human behavior, economics, and politics are fundamentally changing how we live, work, and play, as well as cooperate and develop business value. In other words, digitally transforming the fabric of commerce. As an entrepreneur, marketer, and seller, to me, this digital disruption means that new forms of value are emerging. That means how we communicate that value needs to adapt to this new form and the business models they're built on. 5 poignant examples come to mind. First of all, Google, then YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and most recently TikTok. Each one of these has disrupted traditional marketing, communications, sales, and demand generation. And if you don't think TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts aren't a threat to current marketing engagement tactics because you're in B2B, then keep reading. How attention is captured, value communicated, and then converted into revenue is central to how we get match fit and remain match fit as revenue generators over the next decade. We are in the midst of an attention war where the new imperative of B2B rainmakers is to grab the attention of influencers and stakeholders in any B2B buying decision. The battalion in this war are the digital natives, those who grew up with a device in their hand, who are typically under 40. They are the decision influencers and often outside of the organization you're targeting. This slice of the population now makes up the largest proportion of the workforce by a country mile. The generals and vested interests in the attention war are the digital immigrants, of which I am one. They were not exposed during their formative years to a hyper-connected, instantaneous, always-on world. If you've learned a language when you're young, you know how easy it is to pick it up and use it again if you haven't used it for a while. Contrast this with how hard it is to learn, understand, and speak a new language in your 50s, 60s, or 70s. This means that to get match fit as a digital immigrant rainmaker, there's a whole lot to learn from the digital natives who speak digital fluently, articulately, and with resonance. Equally, there is a lot in my experience that the immigrants can teach the digital natives about navigating the cut and thrust world of old school revenue generation. This podcast series aims to bridge the gap between these 2 points of view and enable you, regardless of your digital origin, to get match fit and stay match fit as a digital change maker in the war to capture attention and make a truly valued impact. If you're ready to make it rain, the framework, strategies, and tactics that we'll outline in this podcast series will help you become match fit. Specifically, they are designed to enable you to level up your own professional performance, take your business into new markets and get real traction, or turn around an existing sales and marketing team and enable them to enter the Premier League. My 5-part framework, which I've called the 5 Ps, is designed to give you a common language to work internally and externally as a team, as well as provide you with a way to align and build consensus with your stakeholders. This enables you to build belief in the true value of your strategies and make the tactical execution mean something to your organization. So the first P is promise. A promise is more powerful than any contract. Your promise sits at the heart of your brand building strategy and tactics. We'll dive into the common error that plagues many business-to-business firms, which is confusing brand building with selling products. I'll give you some practical tools to help you understand that difference and how to apply that difference in tactical execution. The second area that we'll examine, or the second P, are around people. Central to any B2B revenue generation is understanding that people buy from people and people sell to people. Understanding your personas, identifying the mobilizers in any given sale, and enabling your people to connect with them on their terms are among the secrets of making a truly valued impact. The third P, platforms. Today there is a software platform to do just about anything. Navigating which platforms are going to make a critical difference to your sales and marketing success, from CRM to marketing automation to customer engagement to developing engaging web experiences, is key to success. Navigating technology selection is no longer the preserve of the CTO or the Chief Information Officer. And number 4 is promotion. With a dizzying array of promotional choices, from traditional media through to new forms of media, finding the right vein and combination of tactics is very much an art form. And this is where the majority of your budget goes. And it's the thing that has the greatest expectations of success. And it's also most fraught with risk should it perform poorly. The last P in the formula, or the framework, is performance. Performance is the importance of measuring the right things. All too often, misunderstanding and misalignment in performance expectations leads to internal friction. This is the critical balancing act of Rainmakers, to build consensus on the right things across what I call the 3 Vs: the generation of enough sales pipeline, or the volume of opportunities. That's V number 1. The generation of the right quality of sales pipeline, or the veracity of opportunities, and the speed with which sales pipeline is moving along, or the velocity of opportunities. So the 3 Vs are volume of opportunities, the quality or veracity of opportunities, and the speed or velocity of opportunities. Get these 3 things right and you become very relevant to an organization. Orchestrating these 5 Ps together to form a winning symphony will enable you to be valued for your impact rather than clocking how much time has gone into a project, campaign, or rainmaking endeavor. If you want to cut back on work hours while achieving even better results, it's time to dive in.